Hey, so we're just gonna go over some things that I learned in my about 50 hours of playtime in this game so far. This is mostly for beginners, but if there's something that I missed from advanced players who look at this, please let me know in the comments. But first off, we're just gonna go over some stuff on the UI here, starting with the top left. If you hover over this over here, you can get information on your satiety. And if the bar is at least 50% filled, you have a sated buff. If the bar is below 20%, you have a hungry debuff. Rest, this depreciates over time or drains over time. And if the bar is at least 50% filled, you have a rested buff. If the bar is below 20%, you have a tired debuff. So here, if we hover over these effects, we can see what they do. Rested, if it's above 50%, I get a movement speed boost, and if I have enough energy, I recover my health every 10 seconds. I recover 10 health every second, sorry. And to replenish satiety, when you kill things like frogs or wolves, you'll be left with raw meat. So I'm not going to put the raw meat in my inventory, but pretty much you're going to want to build a campfire, or you're going to want to go into one of these hearths maybe that you find in town, or that you build yourself. And let's say you don't know how to make a campfire. You're going to want to press the N button, go to blueprints, and then select the campfire here. And then you're going to want to click on place. And then where it's blue, you're going to right click. But anyways, let's say you have a campfire going. You're going to want to mouse over it until you see the cogs, left click on it, and then go to this pot here. When you click on that, you can search for, let's say you have bear meat in your, let's say you have carrots. You can click on carrots, or you can search here for carrots. And then if I had them in my inventory, I could start crafting them or cooking them. And also, while we're here, there's two other tabs that you can look at to make other things. You can do that on your own. And for the rested, to recover your rested bar, just once again hovering over this until you see the cogs, and then rest over here, and then yeah, your bar will become full. And really quick, you know, the red bar obviously is your health, and then the blue bar is your mana. And some abilities, like some sustained buffs, will take a portion of your mana to fuel the ability. You know what I'm saying? So right here, I have this ability called Vicious Attacks. And also mousing over your skills is pretty useful if you're kind of confused what's going on. And also you can press down Alt key to get more details. But anyways, what I'm talking about is this vicious attack ability that I have. Its ability type is sustained. And if we look at the very bottom, you can see the very bottom middle of this vicious attacks window, it says 400. That's how much of my mana is going to be taken from the maximum amount up top here for me to use this ability. So I'm going to click it. I'm going to press W, and you're going to notice that there's, if we look at the top left, the mana bar, it's a little bit grayed out. Or if you look at your character's mana bar, it's like purple. That just means you have a sustained buff. Now, other classes like mages have maybe like mage armor or something like that, or thorns that do the same thing. So just be mindful of that if you're kind of curious, like where's my maximum mana and how do I get it back? It could be that one of your abilities is sustained and it's making your mana pool a little bit smaller, if that makes sense. All right, next we're going to go over the buttons at the bottom right here. Whoops, I didn't mean to move there. We have our character sheet here, which shows a whole bunch of different information, your stat points here, And you can mouse over everything if you want to get a better idea of what everything does. For example, my fortitude here gives all the things that I have resistance to, and the calculation that goes into calculating your fortitude. And next we have inventory, or you can press I. The character sheet, by the way, was the C button. Inventory is I. And there you can just see where all your inventory is. At the bottom left of this window, you can see your carry capacity. Also for beginners, this plus sign allows you to buy extra slots into your bag. Your first couple of slot purchases are going to be cheap. Like I think the cheapest was 250, and then it gets to 500, then 1000, then 2500. So just keep that in mind. Here is crafting and building. That I believe that was the N button. The N button here. So you have crafting blueprints, and then you have things that you can craft from your person, and then just be mindful of all the different things that you can make here. Like here's accessories, necklaces, accessories, consumables like poison, lockpicks, bandages, basic armor, and rope and linen weave. And on blueprints tab, you have crafting stations, housing, like the size of your plot. We won't get into that in this video. Decorations, which I don't think do anything. I think they just take up space, but I guess if you're really into that kind of stuff, you at least you have the option. You have containers of different sizes. The heavy material storage, it holds heavy materials like logs and stone blocks, which we will go through, and those materials, at least, not the heavy storage material. Heavy material storage, and then wagons, which we will eventually get to. Here, progression, I forget which one this is, the V key. Yeah, if we press V, we have all these different tabs up top, our rank or our level. I'm not sure. Well, I see people in chat selling orbs of proficiency, and these are it. I just don't know what they do yet. I'm that new. We have your abilities tab, and you can filter out, different types of abilities to make your search more better. And then here you have your talents. You can take a look at the talent tree, and you can just mouse over to get a description of what things do. Mouse wheeling in and out, zooms, and then left mouse clicking, and holding down anywhere on the window if it's zoomed in can move this area around. Presets, that's something we'll have to go over later. And then gods, we'll have to go over later. All right, and so the Book of Knowledge, if we left click on that, or if we press B, you'll notice the different tabs up top here. The Bestiary is important for figuring out which abilities these creatures drop. And as you kill more of these creatures, notice how I'm 55% through. Once I get to 100% or 90 something percent, I'll unlock this debilitating strike ability. Also, if we go back to our progression tab, when we press V and we go to rank, I forgot to mention that here is pretty much your level. And how do you get experience or KP? Well, pretty much going back to the Book of Knowledge, you gain XP or KP by defeating, enemies or NPCs that you still need knowledge in. So KP, knowledge progress. So you'll only level up or gain rank when you'll get knowledge progression as long as this percentage here isn't 100%. So I'll be getting XP off of these guys, but if I try to fight stuff that's already at 100%, I won't get any knowledge points, if that makes sense. All right, resources tab. You can just get a better idea if you mouse over these things, what they do. And then armor, it shows you the progress of armor that you might be crafting. From what I've heard in the help chat, for example, like let's say you want to make cloth armor, or you want to make stuff in the next tier, you only need 2 levels in the common section, right? So if I wanted to make armor like inept warlock armor, it's recommended, or it's necessary, that I get this to rank 2. And you'll see right over here how much XP you have. Right now we're level 0, right? The first level takes 10 of this hide armor to be crafted to reach rank 1. And then to reach rank 2, I'm going to need 30 or 31 hide armors after that. And then I can move on to either crafting warlock armor or hunter armor, for example. Hopefully that made sense. And the same goes for weapons. When you decide on, let's say you're going to be a weapon crafter or just a crafter in general, and you just want to focus on making sweet spears or sweet swords, you want to first gather enough materials in primitive to get to 2 levels in primitive sword before moving on to the next tier, if that makes sense. So if you're, let's for example say you want to just make a bunch of swords, you want to be a sword crafter. All right, to get to the recipes, press N, and then you're just going to want to craft like 40 of these primitive swords off the bat. Hopefully that made sense. The journey log, it pretty much just shows what you've done. And you can hide completed quests over here at the bottom left if you just check this thing. And then a really important button over here is the adventurer's task. This keeps track of the dailies that you have, and you earn a good amount of coin by completing them, but they're of varying difficulty, and you get like 1 re-roll per day, I think. But you'll notice that at level 30, this next task will unlock, and I believe this third one unlocks at 20, second one at 15 or 10, something like that. So just keep that in mind. If you want something to do, if you want to make some money, just get your dailies done. So I do also need to bring up something that I failed to mention a little bit ago. When you press the V button, or was it progress? No, progression. Yeah, if you click on this icon over here at the bottom right called progression, or if you press the V key and you scroll to abilities, you'll notice that there are some abilities that are blank. So you want to make sure that you hover over these to make sure you know which monsters unlock this ability. So if we hover over this, and at the bottom of this window, we can see the monsters using this ability. Okay, and so that's where the Book of Knowledge comes in handy. Like if we press a V, go to Bestiary. So for example, Black Bear. So I have it completed at 100%, but if I had 0 knowledge progress, these would be grayed out, right? So over time, as I gain more knowledge, I unlock more of these abilities. So if you want, you can look ahead and see, for example, which NPCs drop the abilities you want for your build. So the Starwolf, for example, drops something for axe fighting, this strike down ability. If you notice on this window, it says school, ability type, precast time, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so this is school axe fighting, school knife fighting, school warfare. And so if we exit here and we press V, you'll also notice, oh, we have a thing for warfare and we have a thing for mace. So if you want to narrow your search, for example, you wanted to find some axe stuff, you've unlocked these, And now, ooh, these gray abilities. Where can I find these? Oh, monsters using abilities for this hack and slash. It's called a fail ghoul. And this one, the decimate ability. Ooh, I want that. And we have a bunch of different NPCs at the bottom of this window. It says Ogre Lord, Jotun Warrior, Mammoth Bull, Mammoth Cow, Emperor Dragon, Jotun Huntress. So actually, let's take a look at the Ogre Lord because we want to get this decimate ability. We can press B, go to the Bestiary, scroll down to Ogres. You can hold down left click and drag down, or you can use the mouse wheel button for this. And Ogres, Ogres, Ogres. What was it? Ogre Lord? Shield Bearer? Whatever it is. Okay, you can see like, that's how you would use the Book of Knowledge. I had to mention that I don't know, you're like, ooh, maybe I can be like a plate using magic caster. And as cool as that sounds, there are restrictions on some of these abilities. So let's figure it out here. Let's pick abjuration, for example. So mage armor. Really pay attention to the description of these abilities because it says armor restriction is light. So only cloth wearers have access to this mage armor. You can't craft yourself plate armor or heavy armor and expect to use something like mage armor. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's go to what else? Static discharge. This one says the armor restriction is light and medium. So cloth armor and chainmail. And just to nail it home, or to make sure it sticks, how about this one? Shocking lash. It's light and medium. So plate users are pretty restricted when it comes to using magic. That's just something I want to tell you, just so for your knowledge, and so that maybe you can plan how you want to build your character better. All right, so you just spawned into your planet. For me, if I press M, I spawned on Terra, and I think I'm on Syndesia. So I'm on planet Syndesia and then Terra. But anyways, you can press M to view your map here. And then if you scroll up or down or whatever, zoom in or out, depending on how close or far away you are, you'll get different types of information. So we're fully zoomed out here, and taking a look at some of the icons here. These shields, these gray shields, are towns that have yet to be claimed by players, while the orange castles, whatever shields, orange shields, are player-owned castles or towns. Sorry, why am I saying castles? Here we have harbors. I still don't know how to use a harbor yet, but I imagine they're linked to cities. I'm not a part of a city, so yeah, I don't know how those work. And then as we zoom further in, we get information on where certain resources are. For example, we got stone here, iron here, copper, tin somewhere, etc., etc. You guys know what I'm saying. I'm not really sure. So these question marks that you see on the map here, when you discover these, you gain KP, you gain knowledge points. So I highly recommend checking these things out if you want some not fast, but just, I think you get 500 KP per question mark that you unlock. So it's advisable to do that when you have the time. And then these solid circles, right? You'll notice how the outline is solid. This means that there's an event going on. And these dotted circles, it means they're going to start. And as you mouse over this, it says it starts in like a minute, I mean, sorry, an hour and 15 minutes, while these are going on for an hour and 15 minutes. Hovering over some of these things yields some information, and we have more resources over here, crystals, etc. And I think that's about it for the map. So once again, just pressing M to get in and out of the map. All right, and lastly, the minimap has some useful information, or at least the top right-hand corner has some useful information. You have your connection speed, your FPS. Over here, you can zoom in or zoom out on the minimap here. So how the minimap differs from the big map is, on the minimap, you can see chest locations. If you're wondering what chests locations are for, there's usually a group of mobs. Well, there are a group of mobs there, and they're guarding a chest. And if you kill all the mobs, you have access to the chest. Also on the minimap, you'll find horseshoes, for example. And there is where you'll find a horse or two that you can tame. And at nighttime, you'll find icons of ghosts, and I wouldn't recommend those until you can have a weapon that can hit ghosts or ethereal. Yeah, and they usually spawn with a lot of mobs, so careful with those as a noob. I guess if you failed to mention that, you know, the first things you might want to do is to build a house somewhere. All right, so if we look at the minimap, we zoom in, you'll notice that these dark gray squares have a house on them, so clearly they're occupied. But all throughout this map are a bunch of different places where you can build. So I don't know if you can see it, but when you're fully zoomed in, close to cities, there are like little empty spaces. Like, it's kind of hard, they're kind of faded, but there's a bunch of different places to build, like close to the beach, in the city over here, on the outskirts of the city. And you're probably wondering, how do you claim a property? Well, you want to find an empty plot, right? You're gonna want to find an empty plot. This is kind of what it's gonna look like, an empty plot. It's gonna have these posts around it. Okay. And then what's going to show up, you're going to want to look at the bottom right here. You'll have this button. I think it's claim management, something like that. But you'll need 2,000 gold to claim the land. And let's say you have your 2,000 gold. Well, from there, if we press N, go to blueprints, go to housing, it is there you can select how big you want your house to be. As a first-time player, I would really hold back on what kind of size you want your house to be, because only certain things can go inside and outside, and you only have like very limited space. Some people who are like min-maxers don't even build a house. They claim the land, and then they just build a bunch of things that can refine resources, if that makes sense. Because building a house requires a lot of back and forth with this cart, going to pick up stone and chopping down wood. It's super tedious, but thankfully you only have to do it once, and I don't want you to have to go through it a second time. That's what I had to do, because it was just like kind of tedious and like soul breaking. But yeah, I just want to point that out. I'm sorry, I'm not showing you exactly the whole house building process. Maybe that will be for another video, but hopefully this bit made sense. Alright, so you've claimed your land and you've furnished your house with stuff. Well, actually, you've just laid down the foundations and like you brought up the walls. And yeah, like you have an empty house. So what am I gonna do? yeah, so to furnish it or to add buildings or whatever tables, press N. Go to blueprints and yeah, whatever you want. Just make sure you read the descriptions. You have only so much space. So for example, let's put a charcoal pile down because this is something I'm going to use anyway, so this works out perfectly. You left click on place, and then you'll notice that there are some squares here, and I'll show you where it can go and where it can't go, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, we're going to put it here. When it's blue, it's good. So we place it with the right click button, and you'll see that there's like a little image blueprint of it. So now, mousing over it, it needs 8 wood or 8 log. I'm just going to build this one since it's what I have. So I'm going to drag my cart over to the thing that I'm going to build. Open up the chest, left click wagon, open up chest. I'm going to drag it to somewhere convenient. And also I put the wagon close to this charcoal thing just to make transferring the wood quicker. I'm just going to put 8 pieces of wood in there, and I'm going to show you, like, my character will auto build it. And I do wish there was I do wish this process was quicker, but unfortunately this is how it is. Yeah. And we start building. Yeah. So let's say, for example, oops, I moved away. Oh no, he's not building anymore. What do I do? Well, good thing your materials are still in there. All we got to do is left click here and click on that anvil, and you'll get back to it. So hopefully you have a better understanding of, placing buildings and stuff like that. So you can start doing or organizing your own place. Depending on what you want to do, there are a bunch of different tables and things. So maybe figure out ahead of time kind of where you want to go with like crafting and stuff. And also, if you want to move things around, hover over the item you want to move, look at the cogs, and then click on this function here, and you can move it around. But red isn't good, blue is good. So escape to cancel, and that's that. So let's say, for example, you want to start getting into weapon crafting, or I don't know, armor crafting, whatever. Let's take a look at our map here. Actually, a forge. You're going to want to build a forge. All right. We left click on this and go to the anvil. That will give us entry into what we can build. We have a bunch of different things here. I don't really want to go through it. I feel like you can do that on your own. But actually armor crafting. So plate armor. We want to make ourselves plate armor. If we mouse over it, we can see its stats. And here we can see the material, and we can use. So at first notice, you'll think like, oh, I can only make copper plate armor. But if we mouse over this here and we left click, we have access to a bunch of different materials, right? And they have a bunch of different properties. So if we use copper, notice that the durability modifier is minus 50%. So the durability is going to be low on the plate armor you're making. Let's go over to iron ingots. I guess, what? No benefit to iron, it seems. But tin, we get minus 50% weight modifier. We also get properties for a full set, minus 10% armor encumbrance. Silver ingots, weapon properties can hit ghosts. Steel, there's no durability modifier. Blood iron, for example, we get plus 80 armor, plus 250 health. Weapon properties, physical damage increase. So yeah, so left clicking on this, you'll get a bunch of different information, so you can figure out, oh, maybe I want to make steel plate armor. Right? Okay, are you guys still with me? Well, let's say you just want to make copper armor, right? Where's copper on our map? We're gonna cart up. We're gonna bring our horse and our cart and ourselves near where this iron mine is, and we're gonna harvest iron, because those are heavy materials and we need our cart. All right, cool. So now you have your copper ingots, right? Now we need to smelt those ingots and we need to smelt the ore into ingots. I'm sorry that I don't have like an example here, but okay, I got my I got my ore. We activate this guy. We're gonna drag our ore, for example. Oh, this is ore. We drag it here. Or if we have our cart equipped, we can deposit all the ore in here. Yeah. All right. And then we're gonna select. So to smelt copper ore into ingots, it requires 1,000 degrees Celsius. So fuel gives us, the type of fuel we use gives us the heat, right? So coal gives us 800 degrees Celsius. And then charcoal gives us, charcoal gives us 400 degrees Celsius. And now, because we have copper selected, here's the temperature threshold and we're exceeding it. And let's say I have 30 copper ore. You can just drag this over there and it'll take 2.5 hours to make. Okay. But let's say we have, I don't know, tin ore or iron ore and we want to make steel. We click here and we can select different things to smelt. You guys with me? All right, cool. So how do you get charcoal? All right, well, we take our cart down to these charcoal areas. Okay, you can find them all over the map. We got iron, we've got tin, we've got copper, we've got stone. All right. So Stash, how do we get charcoal? Well, that's where these what are these things called? These charcoal pits are super handy. They take 8 hours to craft, but in the end you get like an inventory full of charcoal. Just imagine like an inventory full of charcoal, like this much, right? And everything in between. And then you also get something called tar, which you're going to need to treat wood if you're going to be making stuff involving wood. But anyways, hopefully this wasn't too confusing. Hopefully this was all right. Let me know in the comment section and we can figure it out. Like I can make something a little bit more like descriptive, I guess, but hopefully this helped. And I guess it would be good for me to go over maybe some like wood crafting stuff. So I have a couple of benches here. Honestly, I don't use these as much. I'm kind of just getting into it, but I have this woodworking table and then I have this wood refinery. So just like with, you know, the smelter or the smelter, like I can left click here, right? So I can see what the ores do. Well, same with like this woodworking woodworking table, you know, the ingredient, like if I select, for example, I don't know, silver wood board, and I make this wooden pole to add to like a weapon I'm gonna make, it's gonna add, you know, spell damage increase plus 8%, and I can hit incorporeal, if that makes sense, and then magical armor. You guys following me? All right, I hope so. So we have different types of wood, right? We have different types of wood. Let's check. Look at it again. We have different types of wood. We have softwood, we have hardwood, we have palm wood, and we have amberwood. For example, in this basic area that I'm at here, maybe I already have some with me, actually, in here. I have palm wood and I have hardwood, so I can craft at this wood refinery like hardwood, or softwood or palm wood for whatever I need, if that makes sense. You guys following me? I hope so. Let me know in the comments. But so to make these boards, we're gonna need the logs and the wood treating oil. How do you get the wood treating oil, Stash? We're getting there. You're gonna need a campfire or like this hearth thing. I think it's called a fireplace actually. You go to the materials and components. Go to wood treating oil. And we need wood tar. Stash, how do you get wood tar? Were you paying attention? We get wood tar from these charcoal pits that take 8 hours to burn. So get on it.